guys, I think we are live.
What's up, everyone?
Hey, hey.
Hello.
So we have three of the biggest chatter boxes on the internet.
No, not hiding it from here. Yeah, exactly. Welcome, everyone. If you haven't had coffee yet, we have. So let's go.
We're ready to go. So you guys, I am here with Ryan and Antonio from Ping Pong Payments. And me and Ryan have been hanging out lately and talking. There's so many payment providers out there, and each of them does something different. And we should know what our payment provider options are and what benefits each of them has so that we can do all the things we need to do with money in our business. And so I was talking with Ryan and I was like, what is the deal? There's so many payment providers out there. Tell me what is so special about Ping Pong. And he gave me a whole bunch of really cool things that Ping Pong does. And in terms of like even paying your VAs in the Philippines, like there's so many cool things you could do, and it's free and you can set it up in a few minutes, and it's like so cool. So we're gonna get into it. I guess we can start with, what is Ping Pong? Tell us a little bit about Ping Pong.
Yeah, Tony, do you want me to do it, or do you want me to take that one? Yeah, so welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining us live. You probably saw me recently. I'm the chatterbox of the group, like Amy said. So Ping Pong's been around for close to 6 years now. Think of us like a global wallet, if you will, like a digital bank account that you can set up in less than 5 minutes, like Amy said. The old way to kind of do business and set up bank accounts for e-commerce sellers is, Amy told me the same story. You used to have to travel to the country. You'd have to show your identity. You'd have to wait there a couple of days. You have to establish a local entity as like your representative for your business. And then you would potentially be able to open a bank account there. On top of that, then you're having the same fees with sending and receiving money. It's really hassle and it's time consuming. So our company actually developed a technology to be able to.
Let me just go ahead. Stop you there, because this is a question I get all the time. I have a bank account in China, and I had to go there and set it up. And it's all in, it's all in their local language, which I don't read or speak Mandarin. So I had to get help from some of my Chinese friends there. I had to have a China phone number. So I had to get a SIM card there. I needed an address. I had to use my passport, all of that stuff, right? And just like you said, Ryan, it was convenient because while I'm in China, I can pay via WeChat. I can do all the things, which is really awesome. But it's still not easy to use that bank account to pay my suppliers, because I still, from the US, have to try and communicate with those funds. And it's not like my US based account where I'm just like, oh yeah, here's the routing number and here's this. I can call up my US bank and say, yeah, I'd like to send a wire transfer. Here's all the information. Try that in China. It's fun.
Yeah.
Like just getting to the English menu, you're like, what? So when you said like, you don't need a bank account there, you can still pay an RMB using your existing bank account. However you want to do that, you can do it very quickly and easily. So I was like, oh, well, that's another thing. People are always asking me, how do you set up a bank account in China? So this is an alternative for you guys. If you're wanting to pay and the benefits of paying your supplier in their local currency is that you can negotiate in that local currency. You can get often lower prices. And so, so sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh no, you're fine.
It was really good, but
you're hitting it. You're hitting it. Yeah, you're hitting it on the head. The name of the game, basically, everyone is like saving money, and it's going directly to your bottom line. Like nothing that we do is going to be anything that's like, but wait, there's like more things hidden. What we do is all transparent. It's all upfront. It's just more of an ease of use and service, which is what a lot of technologies tried to do. But obviously, you're in business and you try to make money. And there's ways that we make money, but it's better. Like I think it's fantastic how we operate as a company. But what it is a process. You go to our website. It's free to sign up, which is the first barrier to entry that a lot of people hate. There's no minimum requirement to also use us. So if you're a tiny seller, if you're selling just a couple $1,000s internationally, or if you're selling 6, 7, 8 figures internationally, we work with everyone. So it's free to sign up, and you go through a process called KYC, or Know Your Customer. It's basically verifying you are the entity you say you are. Like I'm an individual seller, or I am a global LLC. We verify you with your like tax ID number or your social security number, and we verify all that information. And then once that's approved, which takes typically same day, if not sooner, we can obviously expedite all that stuff. You get access to that local digital bank account. You get a routing number, you get an account number, and you can actually open up bank accounts to receive money from our 10 currencies that we offer from, and then you can send in over 160 currencies to different countries. So, and one of them and two of them being RMB and CNY for sure.
Yay. And you guys what fees are there for doing this?
So we have a maximum 1% transaction fee, and that fee is only taken when the money exits the system, right? So when you put money into the system, we don't charge if you're like uploading from your bank account to put money in. Or if you receive money from, say, Amazon, we're not charging anything there. But when you withdraw it to your bank account, that's when we'll charge, right? So typically, if say you're selling in Canada, you receive Canadian dollars, we convert it to US dollars for you. When you withdraw it, that's when that 1% happens.
And you're going to hook our followers up with like some kind of cool thing, right?
Of course. Yeah, guys, no problem. So when we say 1%, that's the maximum you'll ever spend. Like if you start using us more and more and more.
I pay way more than that on PayPal and Stripe.
So that's the thing is when you're paying. So this is what we'll talk about. A couple of things, guys. We'll talk about receiving first, because everyone likes receiving money, right? It's the time of year where you're receiving gifts and things like that. So our gift to you is that the first month that you use Ping Pong, it's 0% in any kind of Ping Pong fees that you're paying, sending or receiving. That's our promise to you. You can use us as much as you want. You pay your suppliers you receive from different marketplaces as much as you theoretically want. And you're going to get no Ping Pong fees. And obviously we want you to use us because we're a service that we're growing here in the United States. We're huge internationally. We're big in Europe. We're big in China. We're big in India. We have offices all over the world to help with customer service issues. And even with paying suppliers, we'll talk about the sending side of things as well. Sending money is also important now because you're starting to prep for 2021. You're starting to pay your suppliers to get those goods over here. If you're in the United States or wherever your FBA location is, you need to pay the suppliers. So lots of people, you can start going to your supplier and say, hey, if I paid you in local currency in India or in CNY or RMB, would that save me a couple percentage points on whatever my invoice is? More often than not, almost all guaranteed, they're going to say, yeah, of course. And they're going to just not. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, what about the people sign? No, this is going to be a big question because this is the common thread in all the Facebook groups. People are saying, well, maybe except for Amazing at Home, because we're always saying like, just you can pay your supplier with your bank account. It's okay. Like you don't have to pay on Alibaba. But that's the question. People feel like if they don't pay on Alibaba, that they're not protected. So how does that work? Most people say, well, I'm going to make sure that I pay on Alibaba because then if I need to open up a claim, I can maybe get my money back and it's all there on Alibaba. But what ends up happening in most cases, people think that if they pay on Alibaba and something happens, they'll be able to open up a claim and everything's going to be fine. But in most cases, you need some kind of contract in writing that whatever went wrong, right? Let's say your goods are messed up or, whatever happened, you need some kind of contract in writing in order to file that claim. So Alibaba is not going to grant you your money back if you have nothing in writing with that supplier. So it really doesn't do you any good to pay on Alibaba anyway. If you don't have proper contracts with your suppliers. That being said, if you have proper contracts with your suppliers or, anything in writing in terms of, going by that law of that country, it's going to be much easier. That supplier is going to be much more willing to agree to giving you some kind of refund or whatever, because they signed that. They agreed ahead of time. It's not like you're just suddenly hitting them going, well, I'm not happy with this. Well, if you never gave them any kind of upfront expectations or anything like that. So do you guys have anything in terms of that? Do you have any advice in terms of the people that are really wanting to pay on Alibaba?
Yeah, so I mean, honestly, we don't have that kind of safety net, right? So if you're paying your supplier from us, we're not going to be able to go back and file a claim for you because that's just not a service that we have. I always tell people, so I actually lived in China for about 7 years on the sourcing and manufacturing side. So a lot of experience there. When I talk to people who are thinking about doing this, I said, listen, how long have you had that supplier? Is it someone you trust? If it's someone you trust, go for it. If you don't trust them, continue using Alibaba because then you have that insurance that comes in.
Mhm.
You're going to pay a premium for it, but stay that route if you're fearful. I would use us similar if you trust them and you would wire the money, then use Ping Pong instead, right? So yeah, it's a trust factor, and the more you've had orders with them, get to know them. Hopefully, you've gone to China and visited them, or they've come to the U.S. and seen you. You know that's important, right? Once you've had that face-to-face interaction or respect with the factory, the chances of them, screwing you over are minimized very, very much so.
Yeah, exactly. And I agree with you, Antonio. It's like, if it's just a test product and you're just that's the smartest thing to do is go ahead and order on Alibaba, have as much as you can in general in writing, as long as you have like chats back and forth or emails back and forth, you can always do that. And so you can always submit that as part of your claim if something were to go wrong. So, you do have that safety net, but great advice there. I mean, yes, why not? Once we have the relationship with our supplier, utilize other payment systems if we were going to use our bank account anyway.
100%. Yeah, and that's the thing. Yeah, go ahead, Ton.
Go ahead, sorry. One common question I get is you mentioned something earlier, you said, hey, if you're paying them in local currency, you'll get a discount on your invoice. So a lot of people push back on that question and say, why would that ever happen? They want dollars, they get dollars. Well, I mean, what you're not realizing is that, they're factoring in anywhere between 2 to 7% for currency exchanges, right? Because you're going to send it to their Bank of China or Bank of whatever account in dollars. I mean, they might be able to keep some of it in dollars, but most of it they'll have to convert to RMB because they have to pay their employees. The banks are not going to give them a very favorable rate. I mean, unless they're doing just absolute mad amount of currency, they're not getting a great rate for changing that US dollar to CNY or RMB, right? So that's why. And I always tell people, like, when you do talk to your supplier, make sure you make it clear that you're expecting a discount. Because if you just say, hey, I want to pay you in RMB, most factories say, okay, great. They're going to take that USD price to you and just convert it directly and say, okay, we'll take that extra money. So I think you have to make it clear, like, hey, I'm going to pay you in RMB, but I do have to see a discount on my invoice. What can you give me?
And then the great tip. And so let's transition a little bit because there's many providers that we pay as business owners. So we pay sometimes a sourcing agent. We pay our VAs. What if I have a VA in the Philippines? Right now, I pay one of my VAs in the Philippines, I pay her via PayPal. And the fees are insane and the transaction rate is not that good. So what does that look like when I do that via Ping Pong?
Same thing. So it would look exactly the same as if you were paying someone in China, except for instead of choosing location as China, you'd be choosing the location as the Philippines. And you would get their bank account information. They would give you an invoice, for their time. You would give us that invoice number, and we would do KYC on our side, checking that the bank account matches the name on the invoice. And then you would pay them out in, from your account into PHP, which is the Philippine peso. So they would receive the PHP into their account. We have roughly a mid-market rate. It's not exactly a mid-market. It's typically really close, because we're not adding a spread there, and we have a currency team that's constantly buying and trading currencies. And then then we would take that 1% when that money left.
So you check. So every time we send money, we need an invoice from them. And
just the first time is when we do the KYC, right? That's right. That's when we check.
Oh, the first time you send them money, but every time after that, you don't need to provide it.
It's like it's a drop down on our dashboard. Yeah.
You would provide an invoice number, but that's it, right? So that way there was a reference number, because like a bank, we have to protect ourselves against money laundering and things like that, right? So that's why we strictly work for businesses. So I mean, we're not like, say, Venmo for international people, right? You can't just send $400 to person X in India. We need an invoice number behind that.
Okay.
But I mean, we pay out, like Ryan said, over 100 different currencies. Philippines is a big one for VAs, India as well. I know that Pakistan's a big one as well. I think that actually goes live either at the very end of this month or early next month. But yeah, so we have a lot of people that don't only just use us to pay for suppliers, but a lot to use to pay VAs and employees and freelancers.
So yeah, VAs, advertising agencies, if you have like a freelancer, any factories that you have overseas, or any kind of like warehousing, everything's fair game. And this is not just like obviously in Asia and China. This is literally anywhere in the world. This is also if you're an international seller and you have the same issues with the United States. If you're sending money in the United States or you're paying your employees, we're basically like sending or receiving money. If there's a concept behind it, we're going to work with you. And on top of Amazon, if you're big enough and you actually want to have a diversification schedule. Sorry, this is super bright here today. I don't want to watch out. But if you're big enough, and you're selling like on a Shopify or a Rakuten or any of those other marketplaces, we also support those marketplaces. So you can see if I'm selling on Amazon UK or Amazon Germany or AUD, you can see how much money is coming and going in each currency and in each different marketplace. Like it's pretty contingent.
So,
and even
and we've focused on mostly US right now,
right.
But what about all of our overseas sellers? So people who live in India or live in Pakistan or live in Australia and sell in the US market or sell in the UK market. What does that look like for them? You said you're connected to Amazon as well, so they can see those. You can ask Amazon to pay you to your.
Yeah, so exactly. So that's kind of what it is. So if you're, based outside of the country that you're selling into, we can give you, they're called virtual bank accounts in that local currency, right? So we can do 10 different currencies, basically all the major Amazon markets minus say Sweden, Saudi Arabia, and say Brazil. So let's say you're an Australian seller selling in the US, we'll give you most likely a Citibank backed bank account, that'd be a US dollar account that you would put into your Amazon Seller Central in the US. So Amazon would pay you out into dollars, and those dollars would go into your Ping Pong dashboard. You would see that, and then like, hey, I want to transfer all of it to my Australian bank account. You can withdraw it all, or you can say, hey, I want to keep some of it because I have to pay tax, or I want to use it to pay suppliers. That's kind of how that works. But yeah, we can. That's kind of like the biggest side of the business right now is helping people receive money internationally. Because right now, if you're using, say, Amazon's built-in service, you're getting overcharged, right? And also you have no flexibility because they automatically do that conversion right away.
So explain that? Explain how you're getting overcharged. So let's say I'm selling in the UK, right? Mm-hmm. Let's say that. How am I getting overcharged with my setup?
Sure. So right now, if you're in US and you only have US bank account, you're selling in Great Britain, you're going to put your US dollar bank account in your Amazon UK Seller Central. So what Amazon does is that you see your disbursement as, let's say 100,000 pounds.
Yeah.
And then they'll actually automatically convert that, and then you'll receive X amount of dollars in your statement. You'll see how much money you receive. So they're actually adding in a spread into that FX rate, right? So let's say it's the mid-market rate's $1.3 to £1. Amazon's really going to give you like 1.25. I mean, they're going to add anywhere between 2 and 4% depending on your volumes. So we give you a mid-market rate. So we're not going to add anything there, but we're going to take a maximum 1% transaction fee.
So what you're doing, instead of putting your US bank account in your UK Seller Central payment account, you're giving them your Ping Pong account in the UK, right? That virtual bank account, right? And then they're able to pay you in that local currency, and you're not losing out on them converting it however they want to convert it. Did I understand that right?
Yeah. And every guys on Amazon too, they will pay you out every 2 weeks, just like they do in the United States, and they will convert it every 2 weeks, just like getting paid. So if it's a really bad rate going on right now and Amazon's not going to care, they're going to still convert that money for you and send it back. With Ping Pong, you can actually hold on to that money in that currency and hold on to it. Say, for example, I want to keep it in Europe or in a euro. I can hold on to that money until it gets to a certain threshold, and you can set rules and regulations to say, all right, once it hits a certain threshold, like 20,000 euros or something like that, then I want to convert it. Like you can set all those different things and hold on to it. Or if you're just want to pay an entity in euro, instead of transferring back to United States dollar and then transferring back to the euro, like you're hitting those rates multiple times. And with like banks or anything like that, you have wire transaction fees. each way you go there. With us, you can just hold on to it and for a rainy day if you want to, like almost like a security blanket, if you
I
will.
think this is also key too. I mean, a lot of people don't think about the VAT payments in the UK and Europe. So you have VAT payment, right? Or also if you're selling into Canada, you have GST or HST depending on the province. So right now, if you're using like Amazon services and you're selling in the UK, you know, that £100,000, they immediately, send it to your US bank account, converted, you have it in dollars. But you're going to have to pay the VAT, which is roughly 20%, right? So you then have to convert back to pounds to then pay that. So with us, say you had
No, thank
100,000.
you.
Yeah, for us, you had 100,000. You say, hey, I just want to withdraw 80,000, leave 20,000 there. So when my VAT payment's up, I can pay directly to the VAT authority from Ping Pong. So you're not double converting, you're not losing money twice. It's just there.
And
Okay.
that's free to do. And that's free to do. Paying VAT authorities is free to do in our service.
That's
So
awesome.
your accountant, if they are paying those kinds of fees or they're paying that for you, they can log in, and if they have a sub account, you can create sub accounts within Ping Pong too. So if your accountant just has access to pay out VAT authorities, they can do that within a Ping Pong account, and that's it.
Okay, so one more scenario for you. What if I'm based in the US and selling in the US? Other than paying my suppliers, right? And paying my, is there anything in the US that is more affordable with Ping Pong?
I would say not really, right? I mean, I think if you're getting, your disbursement from Amazon US and going to US bank account, you could use us just so you'd have everything in one dashboard. But the reality is it's just going to delay your payment by probably 1 day, right? So Amazon disperse on the 14th, you'll see it on the 14th, you'll tell Ping Pong, give me my money. On the 15th, you'll get it. We'll take $1.50 because it's an ACH transfer, so we cover that charge. So I mean, really, it just adds time. I mean, I'm sure the company would love for me to say, "Oh, yeah, you should definitely do it," but the reality
is,
it doesn't make sense. Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Where I'm seeing the value in that is if like paying my overseas suppliers and stuff, like being able to kind of hold that in an outside currency and having those virtual bank accounts. When I do decide to, go to the UK and all of Europe and sell, especially with Brexit just happening recently, like it's really good to be able to kind of split up that money and do that. And so those folks that are in the UK and are having to set up accounts outside of the UK right now to sell in the rest of Europe, Ping Pong is a great option for them. That's awesome. So did you guys want to give us, we've been going for a little bit now, but did you guys want to give us a quick demo just to show us what it looks like?
Yeah, for sure. I'll share my screen.
Let me just make sure that I have there we go. Yep, go ahead.
Perfect. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yep, I got you, Tony.
So here's just a quick, this is our dashboard. So I have 9 different, these are all virtual bank accounts that I can receive currencies in. So these are our 9 main currencies, and then their 10th one is the Hong Kong dollar. I mean, this is kind of cool because we're one of the few companies that does the UAE currency, which is the AED. That market's exploding. So I mean,
we were just talking about that with Yana Krekik earlier on the Seller Roundtable. We were talking about how that market is so incredible. So being able to have that currency would be so great.
Yeah, so I mean, a great market. Setting up a bank account in the UAE they're very difficult. So yeah, same thing with Singapore. We can get you a Singapore dollar. Also a market that's going really well as well. So yes,
and just Tony, let me clarify. These are all of the ones that you guys can receive currencies in, not pay in currencies. Like the paying in currencies, there's 160 different ones. So this is where you can actually just receive in these currencies.
Cool. And then another function is, so let's say you're based in the US, you only want to use us for paying international suppliers. You don't want to hook up your Amazon bank account. How do you get money into the Ping Pong system? We have something here, just you're adding funds. So you would give us your beneficiary bank account, which you would attach to this. So that would be your home bank account or whoever you bank with. You would click on this add funds button. So this is like my, of course. Sorry, I was in it too long. All right.
That's why those password cover-up stars were created.
Exactly.
So I can add funds directly from my bank account. So this is kind of like my fake bank account that I created. So I would put in like a cancel check or bank statement, and I would top up as much as I needed to top up. So I'd have money in my account to pay suppliers. And that would come on. Once I did that, you would see it here under the US dollar. We have a function actually we call it B Pocket. So that's money that's you've put into the system versus like it's come from an e-commerce channel. So the cool thing that your people would want to see is our sending function. So as you see, we can send to the VAT authorities. So we're going to change this to tax authorities. Can we do more than VAT? We can do VAT in Europe, UK. We can also pay Canada, GST, HST, tax in United Arab Emirates. And if you're based outside of the US and you need to pay your state tax authorities, we can do that here as well. But more important, so this we have our 2 recipients and 2 suppliers. So this is where you would pay to suppliers overseas, to VAs, to freelancers. So if you wanted to add a new one, pretty simple process. You have 2 choices. You can pay directly to their bank account, or if you get them to sign up for a ping pong account, you can pay them to their ping pong account. And if it's ping pong to ping pong, it's instantaneous. Like it's to them within 10 minutes. With bank account, it's typically there within 1 to 3 business days. The first one takes a couple days longer, but moving past that, it's 1 to 2 business days once you get going. So you put a person's name in, the type of recipient. So, procurement would be for products, supplies, logistics, advertising, freelancers, and more. So it could be operating agent, so like an employee. You put their location, a lot of different locations, and then a nickname. And down here, you would put their contact and phone number. And then the next step, you would add their bank account. That's when our company would do a little bit of a compliance check. And that's when I was telling you earlier, we would check that the account name matches the name on the invoice to the person. So that way, I don't know, I mean, if you've sent a lot of wires in your life, if you transpose a number, you're just, 2 weeks of sitting in limbo and then fighting for another 2 weeks to make sure it's there. So we kind of alleviate that situation. So once you have a person in there, they're ready to go, they'll be in your drop down. So here's a China supplier I want to pay. So you'll see that we have it, it's in CNH. All right, so the RMB, the CNY, same currency. CNY is like the official name, Chinese yuan. RMB is for like the Chinese version, which means renminbi, which means the people's money. CNH is Chinese money that's held outside of China, so like in a Hong Kong bank. So that's why you would see CNH and not CNY. So here, so this would be my Chinese supplier. I put in my, my invoice number. Go next, how much money I want to send to them. Obviously, I have to have enough money in the system to pay to them. But pay 5,600 RMB from my account balance. So it's going to say, hey, you're getting $866 deducted. I put in my 6-digit PIN that I created, and then we have a 2-step verification. So it'll ping my cell phone. I put that in there. I hit submit. Then you get a little reference number, and your supplier should have that money within 1 to 3 business days. But it's done.
Very good.
Another cool function though, also, I mean, some people have multiple suppliers they want to pay at one time. So we have that function where you can download it in Excel, put them all in there, and then upload it. So it all goes out at one time. You're not going one by one by one. But I mean, that's more or less the system. It's super easy to use. And once you got your suppliers in the system, you could just, all you need is that invoice number and you're good to go.
Very good. Makes sense. Okay. Well, I think that's it. I think we pretty much covered every aspect, but why don't you guys tell everyone, I put in my link, I get you guys a little extra discount. So I put in, if you go to amazingathome.com/resources, those are all of our trusted resources. And so you can click on ping pong there. But why don't you guys tell them, if they have any questions, what is the best way to go about reaching out to you?
Go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, so we have support at pingpongx.us is our support line, but I will give you my personal email. Like, this is one that will come directly to me. You can actually reach out on Facebook or LinkedIn. I'm open all the channels, so you're more than happy to connect you with our customer service / sales team. I'm the person who's just kind of like the face of the company, if you will, or like the person who talks the most from our company. I just like educating people and want to help people save money when they're building their e-commerce business. So my email is ryan.kramer, and that's CRAMER @pingpongx.us. And that comes directly to me. I will make sure that you're given like white glove treatment to be able to set up, because it's super scary, guys. You don't want to mess with money. And I understand that changing things in Amazon, you're like, I don't want my listing to be taken down. We have a step-by-step guide that says, this is when you should change bank accounts so Amazon doesn't flag you. This is the easiest way to get the best rates. And we work with you in terms of like how much velocity you think you're going to do. And we will work with you on those rates. Again, maximum 1%. If you're doing things like PayPal or you're paying people like that and it's 5-6%, think about that margin that you're just throwing to your bottom line to invest in inventory, invest in yourself, or invest in like advertising, anything, literally anything.
I like the invest in yourself.
Yeah, invest in yourself. Like take a spa day like Amy is going to do, right? On Friday.
I'm so due for one. I usually take one every other Friday. So, but yeah,
you have to treat that's why everyone's doing this, right? Like, why wouldn't you take money that's rightfully yours and save it or put it in yourself and just like, I wasn't going to have this money.
Those little fees definitely add up. Well, thank you guys so much for being here today and for telling us about another payment provider out there that helps us. And you know, there's, like I said, there's so many, but it's really good to know what those differences are and how we can use it. And I love the idea of the dashboard, especially for those people that are looking to expand, because lately we were talking with Yana from YLT the other day, and she said, everybody is expanding. I guess there's no inventory limits overseas. And so like everybody is just like, well, just send all that inventory to Germany or send it to the UAE. Yeah. So, I mean, how great is it? Because that's just one more hurdle that you've overcome by being able to, you know, get paid in those currencies and pay your taxes in those currencies and all that kind of stuff. So very good. Thank you guys so much for being here, and everybody check out Ping Pong Payments and let us know if you have questions. All right, we'll talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.